You know that image of Maui you have in your head? The turquoise water, the swaying palms, the luxury resorts that cost $1,000 a night? I want you to burn that image. Erase it. Because right now we need to look at the other Maui, the one the postcards don't show you. The one where paradise has turned into a survival zone. Imagine standing in a landscape of gray dust and twisted metal. The air still smells faintly of smoke, months later. This is what was left after the deadliest wildfire in modern American history tore through Lahaina. It didn't just burn buildings, it incinerated stability. It took a housing crisis that was already strangling the island and turned it into a catastrophe. Suddenly, thousands of people, families, workers, locals, found themselves with absolutely nothing. No roof, no ID, no future. Now, zoom in. In the middle of this scorched wasteland, in a makeshift camp called Cut Mountain, surrounded by despair and dust, a woman is doing something that makes absolutely no sense. She isn't begging. She isn't looking for a flight out. She is kneeling in the dirt. She's clearing away the rocks with her bare hands. And she is planting a strawberry. This creates a question that stops you in your tracks. When your world has literally burned to the ground, why on earth would you try to grow a garden? The answer to that question is going to change the way you look at poverty, at hope, and at the human spirit forever. Let's back up. To understand the weight of this moment, you have to feel the pressure cooker that Maui was before the fire. This wasn't just a natural disaster. It was a disaster layered on top of a crisis. Locals were already being pushed out by offshore investors and vacation rentals. People working 2, sometimes 3 jobs were living in their cars because the rent was simply impossible. They were the invisible backbone of the island, the working homeless. Then came August 8th, 2023. The wind howled like a jet engine, power lines snapped, and a spark turned into an inferno. The fire moved faster than people could run. It erased Lahaina from the map. For the homeless community already living on the margins, this was the apocalypse. They lost the tents that were their castles. They lost the few possessions that proved they existed. They were scattered like ash, traumatized, and herded into emergency shelters that were already overflowing. Jolene Rudolph was one of them. She barely escaped with her life. She ended up at Cut Mountain, a place that sounds rugged but was really just a patch of scrubland off the highway. It was hot, dusty, and bleak. The vibe in the camp was heavy. You could feel the depression in the air. It's a state psychologists call learned helplessness. It's what happens when life beats you down so many times that you stop trying to get up. You just exist. You wait for the next bad thing to happen. But Jolene, she refused to wait. She looked at that dry, cracked earth and made a decision. It was a quiet rebellion, a refusal to be defined by the worst day of her life. She got her hands on a kokua card, a lifeline from a local non-profit called Maui Rapid Response. Most people would use that money just to survive the day. Jolene used it to buy a future. She bought seeds. When she started digging, her neighbors thought she had lost it. And honestly, can you blame them? They looked at the ground and saw dirt. They saw failure. They told her, "You can't grow anything here. The soil is dead. There's no water. It's a waste of time." These weren't mean people. They were broken people. They were trying to protect her from another disappointment. But Jolene didn't listen. She didn't have a gardening hose or fancy tools. She carried water by hand. She shielded the tiny sprouts from the brutal sun with her own body if she had to. She treated that garden like a newborn baby. Every day she watered it. She was making a bet against the universe. She was saying, "I believe there will be a tomorrow." And then the impossible happened. A splash of green broke through the gray. First one sprout, then another. Jolene wasn't just growing food. She was growing a miracle. She started experimenting. Eggplants, basil, green beans that climbed up makeshift trellises made of scrap wood. And yes, strawberries. Strawberries in the middle of a disaster zone. It was absurd. It was beautiful. The atmosphere in the camp began to shift. It wasn't overnight, but it was palpable. The skepticism turned into curiosity. People who used to walk by with their heads down started stopping. What is that? Is that a pineapple? The garden became a magnet. It broke the monotony of survival. It gave people something to look at that wasn't a reminder of what they had lost. It was a splash of color in a black and white world. This is where the magic happens. The garden stopped being Jolene's project and became Auntie Jolene's garden. That title, Auntie, is a heavy word in Hawaii. It means respect. It means family. The community started protecting the garden. They started caring about it. It became neutral ground, a place where the trauma of the fire didn't exist, even if just for a few minutes. Then came the harvest. This wasn't just about calories. When Jolene picked that first ripe tomato, warm from the sun, and took a bite, she wasn't just eating, she was tasting victory. She described it as so sweet, but she didn't keep it to herself. She walked through the camp, hands full of fresh vegetables, and she gave them away. Think about that. In a place where everyone is fighting for scraps, she was giving away abundance. She handed fresh green beans to a neighbor who hadn't eaten anything fresh in months, maybe years. The shock on their faces was real. "You grew this, here?" It was a restoration of dignity. It wasn't a handout from a stranger. It was a gift from a neighbor. It reminded them that they were human beings who deserved good things. This garden proved something dangerous to the status quo. There is a stereotype that homeless people are helpless, or lazy, or criminal. Jolene took that stereotype and buried it under 6 inches of soil. She showed that the people living in these tents are resourceful, creative, and incredibly generous. All they need is a chance. All they need is a seed. Today, that patch of dirt is an oasis. It's a community center without walls. It's proof that hope isn't something you find. It's something you grow. Jolene Rudolph didn't wait for a hero to come save her. She dug her fingers into the earth and saved herself. And in the process, she fed an entire village. So the next time you feel like everything is burning down around you, remember Auntie Jolene. Remember the strawberries in the dust. And remember that sometimes the most revolutionary thing you can do is simply plant a seed.